How old were you when you first started dealing?
First time I started selling drugs, I was 12.
12, not even a teenager yet.
I wasn't, what I was doing though, I was selling marijuana joints. I was catching the bus from the projects to go to school in my neighborhood to Walton Junior High School. So me and one of my cousins, this guy, we decided, okay, we get $100, we can buy some weed, roll 100 joints, we gonna get, you know what I mean? So we got a plan, we got that, and then we got a candy house that we stop at called the Funky Fives in Watts, where they sell penny candy. So we also gonna spend $10 on penny candy and sell them for 10 cents a piece at school. Right. So we enterprising at that young age, you know what I mean? Right. That's when I started selling drugs, was selling weed, dollar joints on the bus.
Okay.
Back and forth from school.
I caught my first drug case at 12 years old, sold to an undercover. And I was AWOL from placement, from foster care at that time too.
Okay.
And I just went by that foster home the other day at the city on Wilmington.
Oh,
and I was talking to somebody, I said, man, my little brother was a foster. I just was at that spot a couple of days ago.
The people still next door, they still.
On everything.
I mean, when you talk about, well, weed usually, not a ton of violence that goes along with it. When we talk about crack and cocaine.
I moved into crack, I started selling crack. First I sold Sherm first. I used to dip sticks first. That was
PCP.
The first drug I was PCP. Because I can get on the bus and then I can get off the bus down here in Compton in the neighborhood and walk over here and dip me some sticks and make some money. Police come, I bust on the ground, I don't never go to jail. So I started doing that. Then when my mother went,
and those vials,
it was my
mother
going to jail.
You had a little vanilla vials with the vanilla flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, we keep it in a little pour, so you know what I mean. It evaporates. You never, there's no case. You know what I mean. So that was my next thing. Then it was my mother going to jail, and basically her people used to cop from ended up seeing me one day and offered it to me, and I wanted to help get some bail money to help her get out of jail. And that day I started chopping rocks and selling rocks.
What do you think was the most violent situation that happened in the course of you actually selling?
Oh man.
Too many to count?
That's 10 movies in itself, Vlad.
Okay.
That's just probably in a matter of months or years, you know what I mean?
A lot.
We know a lot of people. It would probably blow your mind if you knew exactly how many people that we know that was here and that ain't here no more. You know what I mean? I don't think we can keep count. It's that many.
So you were going to funerals constantly?
Not even just going to funerals. I was incarcerated for a lot of my youth too. So you know what I mean? So it's a difference. You know,
that's the thing about us. Like, well, you was in foster care with us, and then you went to what?
I was with boys home, group homes. You know, I went through the whole thing after my mother went to jail. You know, I did what I could for as long as I could to, you know what I mean? And we all got pulled in separate directions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was in foster care from 10 to 15.
Okay. It was like he was walking my footsteps. I ended up in this boys' home. I was in this boys' home. I ended up over here. Right, he ended up in this boys' home. I ended up sitting with more juvenile hall. 2 months later, here he come. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, were you trying to tell him like, okay, don't fuck up like me, and here's how not to do it, or was it just not that level of? I had to.
I'm big brother.
Exactly.
You know I had no other mother, and if I didn't do what she said, boy, if he was regarded that, I got to deal with her. I ain't for the fight her. I have to fight you. You know what I'm saying? So I had to. That's all I knew since he came here. You know what I'm saying? But when he got to a certain age where he can think for himself, I kind of, let him do for himself. Unless I thought it was something being influenced on him from other people, then I'm gonna step in. You know what I mean? But we really kind of started almost the same. He was already out there with me at such an early age. It wasn't really too much. I didn't know that he didn't know. He did more. I couldn't do some of the shit he was able to do. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have them responsibilities. I did. He was my responsibility.
Then I was a little light-skinned kid, so I got away with a lot. Like, people just liked me, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I remember he used to get picked on by G homies, and I would go try to take up for him.
Grown-ass men.
You know what I mean?
Because they saw that I was the only, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was just
9,
a big
10, 11 years old, but
he was big,
but I looked like 13, and I carried myself like that because I got a mama that'll beat the skin off me if I don't, you know what I mean? Play the position she's asked me to play, you feel me? So.
Well, you got convicted for, I guess, assaulting another gang member in '88. Yeah. And you were in, I guess, YA until '93. Yeah. So 5 years.
Yeah. And actually, I was already incarcerated a year and a half before that. I was in juvenile hall, and the case didn't come up until a year of me being in juvenile hall. So then I had to fight the case for another 7 months. Then I went to YA. So it was actually almost 8 years total. You know what I mean?
8 years by the time you were how old? 18?
22.
22.
21, 22 years old.
More than a third of your life was spent locked up in various places.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by 22, were they putting you in adult prison?
No, it was juvenile prison. It's called California Youth Authority.
Oh, okay, so Youth Authority goes to 22?
From 13 to 25.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can get juvenile life and have to spend, you can
be a 14, 15-year-old kid who end up in an institution with people 23, 24, and 25 and have to survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Oh, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
What was the worst thing you think you saw during the YA?
It's a whole lot, man. It's a whole lot.
It's a junior prison.
Like I say, I'm writing films about this stuff. I'm trying to document all this stuff so I can bring it to the table. So some stuff I can't really, and it's so deep. If I start, I probably won't know how to stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
And it's all real. It ain't nothing. It ain't really too much that's fictional about it. You know what I mean? I can tell you about a prison guard, a female guard who was found dead in her office with her body broken in half into a trash bag for, you know what I mean? It's wilder than what the public would ever understand or know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You know, when you see a lot of these prison movies, you know, like American Me and so forth, and you see all the rape and everything else like that. Was that happening in YA?
I'm quite sure it was. I can't say that I've witnessed none of it, but it happens. You know what I mean?
I've seen it in
it happens.
The youngest XY in Los Padrinos is the youngest unit there, and it was happening there.
Okay.
Because kids are like, I think they start out at like 9 years old, something like that.
What I do talk about, and I want to speak about, because I know it's a lot of people from that era that was in juvenile hall in the early 80s and shit like I was. They had a doctor there, man, that when you went through the processing of being processed into that institution. Remember the white man, the doctor with the glasses, the old fat white guy?
I don't remember them.
He'd bring us in the room one at a time, and he always wanted to touch your nuts. And I just asked him, man, why you want to touch my nuts? You know what I'm saying? Well, I have to make sure you have 2 tests. I can tell you I got 2 testicles. I don't need you to touch it for you to know that.
So you had a pedophile in there, basically.
Yeah. That was going on way back then.
Yeah.
But it took all these years later and things that occurred in my life to make me have to go back and look at, damn, all this type of stuff that we paid no attention to. So imagine that society would never understand half the shit that people like us had to go through in order just to be here right now, to be talking to you, period.
Oh no, I remember, I think it was when I interviewed Casanova 2 times, you know, who was in prison for a long stretch, you know, in the youth section also. He said that the guards would have like gladiator night and just make the kids fight each other.
Dealing with COs, like nowadays I'll be like, dang, like these COs had to be really some ruthless people. Because me now, and I'm still hip if need be, but I'm saying me now, I wouldn't let 2 little kids fight. They used to let us fight. Like it used to be fight night. Like Friday, fight night. Y'all gonna fight. Y'all gonna fight for y'all cookies, y'all gonna, and you gotta look at it. We really used to have busted lips, black eyes, and that was evil. You know what I'm saying?
You start that early. That started, like he said, from group homes and placements, and because you have bullies, man, everywhere. I've had to go to a youth home he was in before from, you know, a dude was older than him trying to bully him. You know what I mean? But didn't know that they was at a facility I used to be at already, and had to, you know what I mean? So it's treacherous, man.
Okay.
It's treacherous.